This is footage from the 2013 US Open, watching Rafa Nadal in preparation for his serve receive. And you can notice a lot of things about his ability to move by watching how he shifts his weight from his right to his left. In particular, when he moves towards the left in preparation for his forearm, you can see a lot of dysfunction in his back, his pelvis, and his knee. With his back on the left side and pelvis and knee on his right. And this could definitely explain why he sustained an injury during the Australian Open this past weekend. So watch as Rafa moves into his form right there. He immediately shifts his pelvis even before his arms get past a neutral position here. And notice the wrinkles in his mid back, they stop, and he has a little bit of a hump right here around rib 6. And what I stated in the blog is that when we're looking at diagnostic motion evaluation, we're looking for sequential movement down the kinetic chain. And if there is a compensation or disjointed movement, that would be where the first dysfunction lies. So in Rafa's case, his dysfunction occurs immediately, and there seems to be movement all the way down to about this hump at rib level 6. And the most proximal connective tissue attachment that shares connective tissue to the pelvis and the hip has its origin at rib level 6. That's the iliocostalis lumborum. Originates at rib level 6 and goes all the way down to the sacrum in the pelvis area. Now notice one other thing is when he moves into internal rotation on his left side going toward his forearm, he moves immediately at the knee, and then he has to compensate subsequently right at the foot because he does not get internal rotation of this lower leg. And that's why I suspect that Rafa will continue to have right knee problems that have plagued him in the past. Watch again as he moves right there, and see there's even movement right away of that right foot right after he moves. And watch the right foot right there. He has to move almost immediately to compensate for an inability of that lower leg to go into internal rotation. And as you will see, as I will show you in the still shots, there's an unevenness of the trunk that it's very obvious here when you're looking at his forearm preparation versus his backhand preparation. When observing these still shots, which are movements towards Nadal's forehand and backhand respectively, you can notice the difference in his ability to rotate his trunk and particularly his right lower extremity. Beginning up at the top, what you'll notice is that his shoulders or his trunk is really uneven here, and that would indicate to me again a dysfunction or a compensation with rotation. Using DME principles, we also talk about wrinkles, and if you notice, his wrinkles are stopping right around that level of rib 6. If you're looking at wrinkles down the kinetic chain along the side, look at the difference between his backhand side, good wrinkles down the kinetic chain, and again, wrinkles stopping. This could be one of the reasons why he sustained a back injury because of the lack of movement on his left side. As you're moving down, you'll notice that the pelvis actually looks a little bit dropped toward his right leg and more level when he is moving toward his backhand. And lastly, what came up in the photo is that he has less movement toward his forehand, but a lot of compensation into this right thigh, into internal rotation. You can actually see his kneecap, and he's in full extension here on his right leg. Whereas when we're looking at his internal rotation toward his backhand and looking at his left leg, there's much better movement down the kinetic chain throughout the thigh, the knee, and the lower leg. As you see here, there's a lot of motion in the thigh. There's no motion in the lower leg, and that's why I think he has a future knee injury on the right or knee re-injury on the right side versus the left.